course, it's not just chicken, quails and other, birds of ostrich, other birds of agricultural importance. So South Africa is developed as the bird used, of food. Not that much in other parts of the world, as far as I know. So what we have here is the transition of bacillus through the gastrointestinal system. The spores are submitted, and in some cases, we have free living cells. They can attach, they can form colonies, and they can even form biofilms. And they're germinating, obviously, to do all these kind of things, and then they're being shed. But not every strain behaves that way. In some cases, we see the delivery of the spores, fantastic activity through the gut, and no shedding. So the bird can actually kill these microorganisms. And we can ask ourselves the question, is it good or bad, or it depends. I think it may be considered as not a bad thing, because it means that the environment is not getting populated artificially with some microorganisms that we enforce on the birds. And of course, we're talking about immunomodulation, we're talking about antimicrobial activity, we're talking about improvement of the feed consumption and controlling of the pathogens in the environment. Now, speaking of these kind of activities, and what we have here is one of the examples, and of course, we have bacillus strains, B825, Melonica in 1933, which is Capmir in 1933, and this is the example of DNA protective antioxidant activities which were evaluated by ability of the secreted metabolites to reduce social response and cytokine response, which is stimulated by addition of deoxytine up to 2.25 times 10 to the negative 5 mole per liter, and paraquat for luminescence measurements, the standard conditions were used with the luminometer. And what we see here, indeed, the antioxidant and DNA protection activity of the bacillus strains B1895 and K1933. So this is a good sign of the study conducted in vitro, indicating that the microorganisms can protect the eukaryotic host against oxidative stress and against the damage of the DNA. This is very important because the damage of the DNA is one of the signs of aging, or can the DNA abnormality also lead to a variety of adverse health conditions, negative health conditions. If we will look at what these microorganisms can do, and in this particular case we have an example of a study where the B1895 strain was used. And I mentioned before that there is a trend in the world to ban antibiotics from the use in agriculture, and particularly in poultry, because in poultry these antibiotics are used as prophylactic aid and also as growth promoters. And so in the study where cloxacillin as a reference antibiotic was used, and also bacillus-stimulated fascines, B1895 was used, and you can see group 1, group 2, group 3, different color coding, and basically, and of course, a combination of two. So group 3 is just the probiotic on its own, and group 2 is a combination of probiotic and antibiotic, and group 1 is controlled without treatment. And we can see these are statistically significant compared to the control, of course, and quite close to what we achieve by the combination. And the first group, just antibiotic on its own, didn't perform as well as the combination with the microorganism or microorganism on its own. Beneficial effects of basal probiotics on the broiler health with the experimental approach what we used, and this is the example where in addition to Cadmiran 1933 other strains were considered, and these strains KB 1641 and 54, which is K-fascines, they were isolated from the birds, and so the assumption was made perhaps if they are bird isolates they can perform better. Let's see what happens with the immunomodulation. And we looked at IL-6 and IL-10, and the interesting thing is that we know that Cadmiran 1933, for instance, is a good strain in several aspects, and we'll see examples which are coming. But when it comes to IL-10 and 6, it didn't perform, impressively at all as compared to the KB41 and KB54, which were the bird isolate. So in some cases, yes, these strains that are isolated from the animals perform better in the animals, isolated from the humans perform better in the humans. So we know these kind of examples. The conclusion from that, yes, significant improvement in the growth performance to other treated groups was observed with KB54. And all of them colonizes this, and except for Cadmiran 1933, I already mentioned that there is such a possibility when we were looking at the generic scheme. And of course, IL-6 and 10 were better modulated with these strains 41 and 54, and were not modulated with Cadmiran 1933. We look at the different study, and this is where we see the basal probiotic formulations, two of them, and in these kids who were using Cadmiran 1933 and BA1895 to remind us. One of them is they re-isolated, another
Dr. Chikindas, I'd like to interrupt. Your voice is not clear. Your voice is not coming now. Maybe you have unmuted. Make sure you have unmuted. You are not audible to us.
सर आई थिंक उनका टेक्निकल इशू है क्योंकि उनको आवाज भी नहीं जा रही है शायद।
मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
यस सर, आपकी आ रही है।
हमारी आवाज तो फिर तो मेरी तो उनको भी जानी चाहिए ना। डॉक्टर चिकिनदास, कैन यू हियर अस? यू आर नॉट ऑडिबल। How to stop him?
मैसेज अगर मैसेज करते हैं सर वो देखेंगे।
Chikindas, can you hear me? You are not audible. Oh my God. Chicken Das, can you hear me? Dr. Chicken, yes, he is looking up at it.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh, now it's fine.
It's fine.
In between the wires are gone, so I think this slide something where you were explaining, but it's fine. Then continue, please.
All right. That it's not with me because I'm still staying connected. It's something, the glitch in the system, the connection. So briefly, just to conclude the, with the previous slides, the increased amount of urea indication of the improved protein metabolism. And I mentioned that with the two previous slides that there were indications, different color coding, that there are instances on certain organs and tissues when single strain application works better than the combination of two, right? And here we have an example of how the integrity and the length of telomeres is promoted by the probiotic microorganisms, and this is the indirect indication of the protection against the stresses, which means that the eukaryotic host is better protected, and it is, I'm trying to be careful, but I want to say that physiologically it is active through the longer duration of their lifespan, right? So this is a very important message as I see. Study of the formulation on the quality of the sperm hatchability and egg quality, and again we used Mirror 1933 and B1895, and please, if you will see that again the sound disappeared, let me know, I appreciate it. And so we can see here the bottom line from this study is that the pedigree roosters and males of the experimental group exceeded the control volume of the ejaculate, so the spermatozoa concentration was higher in the probiotic treated birds as compared to the control birds. With regard to the eggs, and again we can see here groups are pretty much the same, number of chicken are the same, number of chicken from 2031 is the same, number of eggs. I mean, when I saw these kind of results, how can you make the chicken to produce more eggs than they already produce? And of course, numbers are small, but they are statistically significant, and this is the results. And it tells us that basically, the chicken can produce more eggs when they are treated with probiotic bacteria. And of course, it is important to keep in mind that these eggs are better quality eggs, and I didn't provide with the information, but the egg shell was a better quality, stronger, and overall, the hatchability of these eggs. And again, we're running out of time, but I want to talk about the aquaculture still. You can see here fertility. Fertility is definitely improved in the experimental groups compared to the control groups. The hatchability is improved compared to the control groups. So the take-home message would be, again, would have better performance. Dietary supplementation of probiotics, the effect on the egg production remains. And again, just the zooming in type of a figure, you can see here, had the egg production better in the probiotic group, egg weight better in the probiotic group, mass is better in the probiotic, and the feed conversion ratio you can see is also better in the probiotic group. So growth promotion without the increase in the uptake of the feed, blood parameters from the healthy status, no pathologies, and actually all the organs and tissues developed proportionally. So it's not like just the legs or the breast or something became bigger. Now all the chicken became proportionally bigger, and the take-home message again would be that improved production and the quality of the sperm, higher egg laying ability, and the better egg quality, improved egg hatchability, and the ability to produce eggs in time with the lifespan of the chicken became longer, which is an indirect indication of the bird being able to stay physiologically active during a longer period of time, so the lifespan was also improved. We have some preliminary data on the whales, and again, we also see the improvement in the weight, but also an important thing is that the improvement in the quality of overall appearance, of the birds. The feather became shinier, and feather is considered by many investigators as a kind of an indirect indication of the health status of the birds, and this was also observed. Now, not only the parameters that we were talking about, but also the quality of the poultry meat can be improved with the addition of the probiotic supplement to the feed of the birds. And I don't want to take much of your time with walking through entire table, but highlighted here, higher short chain fatty acid content in the meat, improvement of the flavor. This is with Pediococcus pentasius, with muscle subtleties, higher short chain fatty acid content, with Rhodopseudomonas palustris, lower fat content, with Bacillus ficiniformis, improvement in sensory attributes such as color, flavor, juiciness, aroma, and texture. And of course, some of the things that makes the thing concentration dependent is observed, and we have to keep it in mind. And a beautiful example with, I believe it's either, gosh, I have to find whether it is Daniska or Chris Hansen. Maybe one of these two companies, I think Daniska, but forgive me if I'm wrong. We have examples with necrotic enteritis scores and mortality and improvement with the administration of the probiotic strain. And the important thing here is the concentration dependent activity. All right, and we can see here the conversion rate is changing with the different concentration. They go by 1 log. Weight gain is changing by 1 log, and the lesion scores you can see changing with the 1 log changes in the concentration of the probiotic in the feed. So take home message: the amount of the probiotic delivered should be cleverly designed based on the studies. So overall picture with the probiotics in poultry and what can be done, and of course with the emphasis placed on the spore formers. You can see that here solid state fermentation, we didn't talk about it here. We'll talk about the delivery of probiotics. Perhaps that's where I will mention the benefits of solid state versus liquid fermentation, immunomodulation, the improvement of the immune system, protection against these pathogens, protection against a variety of stresses, improvement of the state of the manure, decreased toxicity, and odor reduction is something that still needs to be better explored, improvement of the production of the eggs and the quality of the eggs, and of course the fertility as well. With that, we will turn the gears towards the form sensing and control of the animal pathogens. And I will try to move fast through these things because we need to go to the cultures, and I will apologize in advance if I will take like 5 minutes more of our time. And we can see antibiotic activity of cell-free supernatants on the Proteus mirabilis. Proteus mirabilis is a pathogen of urogenital tract. It's a gram-negative organism, so we shouldn't expect any activity. But you may remember the molecules that work on quorum sensing, and of course these they may also inhibit the biofilm formation with other organisms. And this is what we see here. The number of the cells is not changing more than 1 log, staying within the frames of 1 log, but the significant change in the ability to form biofilm after 50% is inhibited. Another pathogen, Staph aureus, actually can asymptomatically and then pass to the handlers, to the farmers, and then develop infection in humans. But at the same time, we know that streptococcal infection in poultry is possible, especially when it's important when we're dealing with the backyard poultry. And similar examples, we don't need even to cells. We see examples where the number of the cells is not decreasing more than 1 log, but we have up to 50% reduction in the biofilm formation by comparing 1933 and 1895. And we're dealing here with the messenger and messenger-susceptible Staph aureus, and the strains were isolated from the animals of agriculture. The similar experiments were done with 5 serotypes of salmonella, and you can see here just 3 out of 5 examples. And again, similar results don't indicate the numbers of the cells which are to form biofilm, such that the cells must, if they are healthy, feel the signal. We must form biofilm, but they don't form biofilm. Why? Because warm crunching occurs, and you can see in the controls of toxin and subtilin. That's what we assume is presence of the 1895 respondingly. They efficiently inhibit the biofilm formation by some. So major muscle just a kind of a conclusion picture from what we were talking about. A variety of animals where these can be used. The poultry increase on the growth rate, prevention of a variety of cattle, improvement in milk production with the overall growth, and of course in pigs with a variety of positive effects, such as in the mortality rate improvement, in weight gain. Changing gears, going to talk about aquaculture. I don't think I will cover service dogs, but the selection drill. Not sure if I will go through this stuff. Okay, aquaculture. So what is it here? Just a brief take-home message, if you wish, from here. And the brief take-home message, we're talking about oysters